How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to ReWrite. So, Lucia went bomb mode last week and we're kind of dealing with the fallout a bit. We've also noticed, like, we essentially are at a point where she's been manipulated, but she's kind of also done being manipulated. She did what she did, and sadly, it's not even like, oh, like, she was just persuaded to do something awful, and I felt terrible about that to begin with, because it's like, how do you even come back from that? But then you also come back and you realize, too, that they'd even utilized drugs that they were able to administer to her to make her more amenable to listening to them and to being more conditionable. And so it's just like, they just saw her as a tool. And she was so desperate to have some kind of meaning in her life that even if she had doubts, she kind of pushed them out. And that's just really sad. Just really depressing. So, yeah, here we are. We're waiting for the morning. I guess the nukes are going to drop to clear away the poison, and I don't think we can stop that. So essentially we're here to try and at least save her, get into the bunker and find safety. And Kotarou also has an opportunity. He's got to help her understand, like she pretty much posed the question to him that she posed to the scientist, was like, what's the reason for me to still be around? Like, when I'm a poison, when I'm literally killing people, when there's nothing that I bring to the world but death, why should I stick around? And he hasn't had a chance to answer her yet. And so that's what I think today's going to be. It's going to be the answer, because he's got to answer her. So yeah, we'll see if we can give her an answer and then get to safety. And then I'm not sure what happens. I don't know if we're already close to the end, or if, like, this is just another phase. Maybe we'll find another solution. I don't know. But we'll see. But regardless, let's just jump right in and get started, shall we? Kazama's shopping tower. After scouring the internet for ideas on a place to go on a date with Lucia, I came across this spot. It was the first time in my entire life I'd had to book a reservation just to eat with a girl. When the two of us got off at the bus stop, we were so giddy that it must have been hard to watch. We were just like one of those young, excitable couples. That day was bittersweet and so embarrassing. It feels like it was ages ago. I've already gotten used to it, but the sight of so many corpses strewn about in such a sharp contrast to what I saw when we were here before, but I refuse to believe that this is the same place. Yeah, we didn't talk about that last week. Ugh. After going through Kazumo's entrance, I find myself in front of a vast atrium spanning 20 floors from ground to ceiling. I remember Lucia, and I just sighed in admiration as we held hands back then. Lucia? Are you here? My meek whisper simply swallowed up by the silence of the atrium's cavernous space. Instead, I shout her name once more, as hard as I can. Lucia! The shout becomes an echo, reverberating throughout the space. This is the first time I've ever called out her name like this loudly. There, I spot a silhouette moving on the third floor's corridor. The only other person that it could belong to in this entire city is her.
Kotarou.
Are you? Really? I suppose she's trying to say she's surprised I figured out where she is. That's just another cliche line, really. She predicted long ago I would come here. However, those excess words are simply swallowed by the silence. There's no time left. Let's keep things short. Okay, maybe too short. Let me finish here. Come with me. If you die here, that'll be the end of that. If you live, there's a world of possibility out there, and there are countless chances to figure out some way to suppress your poison. So live! That's the point of living! If you die, then there'll be no meaning at all. How?
生きて意味があることは死んでも意味を持つ。死んで何の意味もないことなら生きていても何の意味もない。
Alright, Miss Sith, we're not dealing in absolutes here, but she has a point that there is meaning in death as well as there in life. Like, living in a life and having a purpose and being around, like, you impact the people around you. That impact is very real, it's very versatile, it's very impactful. It's that circular logic there. What it means to say is that your absence may not be known because you weren't there, but your presence certainly is. Whether or not you interact with people, you're a body, you're a speck of light in the city, you're a car driving down the highway, you're a passenger on a train. your presence has an effect on people. Most likely not noticeable and for most people, but that doesn't diminish the fact that you're there. That'd be like trying to say that a tree in a forest doesn't really add to the forest, but that's not true at all. It wouldn't be a forest without the trees. You need all the trees there. You cut down one tree, maybe it doesn't make the forest disappear, but it takes away from what makes the forest the forest. So your presence, being in the world, whether you're impactful or not, whether you're noticed or not, whether you're physically there or not, whether you talk or not, you're there because you're part of the world and you're part of that existence. And when you're not there, you are just subtracting from that. That gives meaning in and of itself. The meaning that you can then carve from, that's potential energy that you can work with. You malleate with your hands. Now, can some of us do things that are better, like not better, but more expansive than others? Absolutely. I'm not going to be a president of a country. I'm not going to be the owner of like a massive corporation conglomerate. Like, I'm not going to be able to literally make decisions that shape the lives of millions. But you know what I can do, or what you can do? You can be there and you can make your choices, and that the people whom you get to influence will be influenced. You can make people's days better. You can make them worse. You can make terrible decisions that ruin your life and the lives of others. You can make wonderful decisions that help and support people. You can do silent things that no one will ever really notice, except for the fact that things are a little bit better because you happen to pass by. When I was in Scouts growing up, and we had a rule of thumb that always stuck with me, which was that like when you go out, you leave the place you stay better than you found it. It was primarily an idea to encapsulate and foster like, responsibility, especially when you go camping. Go to a campground, you clean up after yourself, you do a little bit, and then we would always take a moment afterwards and say like, what's something that could be done nicer? Maybe sweep a patio that hadn't been swept when we got there. Take out a bag of garbage so that a worker doesn't have to come out and take it out for you. Being able to clean a toilet, because a lot of times a lot of campsites have these very public toilets, and it sucks because no one gives them any attention. It's like, yeah, it's not fun, but do you know how nice it is to go to a public restroom and find it being clean? Like, that's an amazing service you can give someone that you'd never get any payment for. I'm not saying you need to go and do that. I'm just saying these are examples of like ways you make genuine differences. And if you're locked into this idea that a difference that you make has to be impactful in a way that is registrable and recognizable, then you're losing the point of why we are here. Because when we can get noticed, that's cool, but that's not the reason. That's not the point. And if that's supposedly the point, then it's very vapid. Then we go to dying. If there's no meaning, there's meaning in dying. Absolutely there is. I've talked about it before, but my grandfather served in the Korean War. He fought against a lot of Chinese and North Korean soldiers during that time. And he never told me whether he thought it was a good or bad war. He never told me whether he thought it was a right thing to do or wrong thing to do. I don't know if he ever ended up having an opinion in the end. I think he was not happy that he got uprooted from his life and sent to a place where he had to go and fight for his life every day. But I also don't think he regretted the cause that he felt he was fighting for, and that he always spoke very highly of the South Korean families that were very grateful that he was there. But I do know that he also never, ever, ever forgot the lives of the people who he saw fall along the way. Members of his company, people he trained with, people he never even met, whose lives literally fell on the battlefield that he watched, whom he helped carry off the battlefield. That gave his life incredible meaning, and when he wanted to give up later down the road, they were the ones that gave him the reason to move forward. That's an extreme example, but it's true. There is meaning in death. Death in the right place at the right time, for the right cause, can be the difference between anything. In fact, that's the whole reason the word martyr exists. The word martyr represents when someone dies, and their death is something that is an inspiration for a cause or a calling or a creed. This idea of a death being so powerful and so moving that it makes others willing to move and do things they weren't able to before. And I think about like anybody who's willing to put their life on the line for the sake of another. We call them heroes for a reason. And sometimes things happen and it's out of their control. Health, accidents, whatever. Those departures are also meaningful too. They can be really sad and bittersweet, but they can also teach us powerful lessons. They can help be like beacons of warning and of danger. And sometimes it's just powerful knowing that somebody was there and is now gone. That gives us that stark reminder to live life a little bit better. So yeah, I'm with Lucia that there is meaning. I just think that they're both pretty terrible at communicating it.
例えば、地球のどこかで死んだ一匹の蝶が、小太郎に対して何の意味も持たないように、その蝶が地球のどこかでいかに美しく羽ばたいていたとしても。
Nope, that's where you're wrong. There's meaning behind that butterfly flapping its wings.
地球の裏側で羽ばたいた蝶が、小太郎に何をもたらしたというのか。
That's the thing, you don't have to know. There are threads that connect it. I mean, you can extrapolate all you want, but that's not the point. The point is that you're still connected. Well, that's... Why the heck are we getting all zen here? This isn't the time to get lost waxing philosophical. I need to get to their shelter, dragging her if need be. Yet here I am, trying to understand Lucia's words like some kind of riddle. Lucia is here. This is the place of significance to her and I. If she truly wanted to avoid me, then she wouldn't have been here. The fact that she's here means she's waiting for me. She showed herself when I called her name, and now she's asking me about the meaning behind her life. Thank you, Kotarou. Listen! Lucia believes I can give her the answer to that question.
一体、このエントランスだけで。
Her miasma blanketed the city just a little past noon. The people here were in high spirits, and they went about shopping the day before the festival was hit directly. I still vividly remember the excitement in the air when Lucia and I first came here. But now there's nothing but corpses here, and it hurts to even look around.
私がそこへ訪れただけで。そこは、私が歩けば、そこは死の領域となる。
Once we find a new medicine to suppress your poison, you can go anywhere you want again, anytime.
ない。もはや私の毒を抑えられる抑制剤は存在しない。
Why are you so convinced?
ブレンダが私にそう言った。
Why would you even believe that shady nut job like her?
彼女たち以外に、誰も抑制剤を開発できない。私にずっと与えられていたものも、当時の資料から生産されていただけのことだ。
Well, I'll just have to grab him by the collar and make him come up with a new suppressant.
無駄だ。小太郎たちは、彼女らのことを何も分かっていない。
Lucia's right. I don't know jack about these bees from the Next Generation Humanity Project. She's much more familiar with them, with how hopeless she feels right now. She's just yelling about how I'll make him come up with some new suppressants totally pointless. Still, I will find a way. I'm going to keep looking for a way for Lucia to freely walk under the sun, without ever being afraid of her poison. But that'll only happen if Lucia stays alive. If she dies, there won't be any meaning, there won't be nothing after this, no more chances. No matter how hard I search, though, Lucia continues to resign herself, saying it's impossible. To her, living anything after this one moment or any other chances, they all have no meaning. I don't know, man. Maybe grab her by the hand and be like, I'm not dead. My body's doing wonderfully. If there seemingly isn't a way to suppress you, then maybe there's a way we can amplify me. Maybe I've got the key that you've been needing this whole time. Are you so willing to give up everything when I'm standing right in front of you as a testament? I took a full blast of the worst you could deliver, and yeah, it knocked me unconscious for a bit. But look at me now. Come on! That's the key! We can study me. That gives us hope. Nothing else.
小太郎、認めたくないのはわかるが、認めてほしい。
Except what?
私の毒を抑える方法は、もはやこの世には存在しない。
Like hell, I'm gonna accept that.
もしその方法があったなら、ブレンダたちは私を連れ去っているはず。
And that's the depressing thing is like, it might actually be an answer. She just didn't care.
なぜ、風祭り師に置き去りにし、核で死ぬか、1000年後まで冷凍睡眠するかを選ばせたか。
Because you're just a pawn that they can toss away.
私の毒を、もはや抑える術はない。
So what, you're gonna give up and die? If you stay alive, then there'll be some way to deal with it. We'll find a way. Suddenly, Lucia casts her head down and smiles bitterly. It looks self-depreciating, or perhaps she's mocking my naivete, and I hate it. What's so funny?
ようやく。私と小太郎の話の食い違う場所が理解できた。
Friction?
小太郎は私に生きろという。それは生きてさえいれば 私の毒をどうにかする方法がきっと見つかるからだという。それで間違いないか？
That's right. If you die, then even if we do find a solution for your poison, there's no point. It'd be too late for anything.
それはつまり、毒をどうにかしない限り。
I didn't say anything like that.
私に生きろという理由は、毒をどうにかする方法を見つけるためだと言った。それはつまり、毒を持つ私に意味がないことを如実に認めたもの。
Okay, Lucia. This is actually a point of frustration for me. She's picking at his words and choosing. He wants her. He's better explain that to her. But right now, she's so narrow focused on her own poison. She's throwing her own philosophy in front of him. He likes her. He cares and loves her. He wants her to live, and he's determined to solve the poison problem if it means keeping her around. But she's seeing that, and she's saying, oh, you just want to fix the poison. You just want to stop the poison until the poison's correct, and I'm worthless. She doesn't see that he genuinely cares for Lucia, the person. I mean, if you got poison, you've got to get some isolation room, right? I'd hate for that to happen. I know they'd only make you sad. That's why I...
毒のない私がこの花ルチアだとしよう。そのルチアはお前と共に手をつなぎ、その認識に間違いはないな。
Yeah?
では、毒のある私はこの花ルチアでない。
No. Then who the hell are you?
今の私はこの花ルチアではない。サンタブローシアの。
Well, I sure didn't expect to hear that name again. Asahi Haruka is a much loathed memory of hers. I'm sure she doesn't want to remember it, even if I try to forget the name myself. Despite that, she's mentioning the name once again.
だから、今より私は朝日はるかと。
Stop it. Quit using that name.
なぜ？この名は私の本当の名。ルチアとは、プロジェクトのスタッフが割り振ったコードなのに小太郎は私を、未だに彼らがつけた実験用のコードネームで呼ぶのか。
If she tells me that, then I can't call her Lucia again. Right, that's right. You need to be freed from the chains of the curse of the project. Even if it's a cursed name, that's what I need to be call her by. Yeah, that fetch! Wrong click. You're right. It's been a while, Asahi Haruka.
そうだ。
You still owe me for the light bulbs you broke in my room.
500円くらいか？
For an entity. I have the receipts.
聞こう。天王寺小太郎。お前はこの花ルチアの意味を求めるために私朝日はるかを生かし、いつか私を殺してこの花ルチアを蘇らせるためにならば、私の意味は何だというのか。
I'll give it this. This is getting a little more complicated, but that's mostly like just fetch me that mind. That's a rough place to be mentally. I have no earthly idea what I would do if I were Kotarou here. It's like I feel like we could work things out if we could sit and talk and like probably get therapy for like a few weeks, months, maybe years. We don't have the time though. So what on earth are we supposed to do here?
毒を持つ私に何の意味があるというのか。いや、問いを変える。もし私が永遠に毒を失わないとしたら、お前はその私に何の意味を持つというのか。
I don't know. What's the purpose of someone who gets cancer? What's the purpose of someone who's born paraplegic? They have purpose. They have so much to offer the world. We don't look at somebody who's born with a debilitating disfigurement disease or develop some kind of like traumatic injury that alters their capability of being able to do things like maintain the job they had. You know, you could have a successful surgeon, one of the best surgeon in the world, saved thousands of lives and cured diseases that most people had never even thought possible. And then they get into an injury that damages their hands, and boom, what? They're useless now. They have no point, no purpose. There's nothing that they offer. Of course not. You don't judge a person's value based on what they can produce or what their output is, especially when such output, production, or trauma is not something that is within their control. Lucia didn't choose this life. It was thrust upon her. She elected to go through some of the procedures, but she was a child. Of course she wasn't going to be cognizant of what would potentially happen. And it actually worked. And that's the depressing thing, is that it worked and somehow that's supposedly her fault. No. Value goes so much deeper than just what you exhibit and express. Yes, she's very dangerous, and yes, we have to deal with that, but the problem is that the core value of the person, individual, Asahi, Haruka, Lucia, I don't care which, is not gone just because they're poison. Why are you so convinced of that? Your poisonous body was created by people. People can create medicine to suppress.
私は抑えられねばならない存在なのか。
Of course. Since you got the poisonous body.
それがお前の答えなのだ。
My answer?
お前は毒を抑えた私、ルチアにしか意味を見出せない。毒を持つ私、はるかには意味を見出せない。
What do you mean? I get, like, it's frustrating because I see what she's saying, but at the same time, it's like so... it reminds me of, like, when you go through depressive episodes. Because of the thing, for a lot of people, they have depression as a constant battle. Sometimes people have depression that comes and goes with specific events and things in life. I've had the latter. I've had moments where my life has fallen to pieces, essentially, and I've gone through depression and the types of circular destructive thoughts that come along with it, and I've had to work through it. I've had to have, like, the edge taken off with medication temporarily. Working with counselors, I can usually pull myself through, and it's usually very temporary. There's only a few spots in my life where it's become that dark and destructive. Thankfully, we have open-minded medicine and open-minded and a greater understanding to make it be known that it's not like a systemic problem, and I've learned a lot of tools that help me get through it. But the problem is that I'm seeing the pattern of the logic that comes with depression, and that's these self-depreciating circulars where you could leave the circular logic because that would help you maybe get a trajectory out, but the depression kind of pulls you back in like a gravitational like orbit where it just kind of keeps trying to spiral you toward a point. And the thing is that the point is this idea that's nested in your brain and won't leave. And that's kind of your core of your depression. Is this some thought that you've decided has become a core aspect of your existence? Usually like not by your choice. Like you're not like, it's not like you're picking and choosing. It's that for some reason it's nestled into your cognizance, and that becomes everything your life revolves around. And that's what's so dangerous about it, is because it starts to color everything. It bleeds through and starts to make it so that even the happy things feel like you're just trying to distract yourself, or that you're not worthy, or like that you're making a mistake because you have other things you should be focused about. And that's the danger that she's got there. Like her poison is this black hole inside of her, and she feels like anytime she feels joy or happiness, she felt guilty about it because it was just a distraction, wasn't really the problem. And so if everything wasn't revolving around that core, then it meant nothing. And it's become so relevant to her. And I can you imagine how mentally she must feel with like the corpses? Like think about that. She's surrounded by the fruit of this disaster that has been her cause. I don't blame her for it at all, but it was from her. And of course she's going to blame herself for that.
認めろ、天王寺小太郎。
Admit what?
この花ルチアはこの正気でもう死んだ。
You're alive, aren't you? You're right there. Lucia, no, Haruka. She's no longer hiding her disappointment with my answer. With my icy cold expression, she fires back.
やはりお前には私を理解することなど。
And what if I can't?
私の好きにさせてもらう。お前の言いなりになる理由がない。
As you please, what are you going to do?
この塔の最上階で朝日を迎えたい。それが朝日遥の唯一の望みだ。
Sorry, but I can't let that happen. You're coming with me to the shelter. I'll show you the sun rising, and I'll get you back to normal.
決裂だな。
Yeah, also, that's not gonna work. The whole point is her whole life has been people forcing her to do things, Kotarou. You can't do that.
朝日遥はお前との交渉に応じる必要が。
Lucia bends over and picks up something up. What is that? She seems to be pulling something out, and suddenly I realize she's drawing a sword out of its scabbard. Why did she even get that? The way she draws her sword and points it right at me, though, there can be no clear sign of her rejecting me. Konohana Lucia wanted me to tell her the meaning of living. I came here without a clear answer to her question. Lucia then became Haruka and asked me the same thing. Does Konohana Lucia... No, she isn't here anymore. Does Asahi Haruka have any meaning to her life? Just by existing, Haruka kills other living beings and causes plants to wither. She's a cursed girl. Lucia using her suppressants to completely separate Haruka from her and lived a new life. And now their suppressants no longer work, she's pretty much returned to her old self as Haruka. Is there any reason for this cursed girl whose poison can no longer be subdued to continue existing in this world? If it were Lucia, I could give it an immediate answer. I could say she worked so hard, the class representative, or something along those lines. But what meaning could I attribute to Haruka? Haruka's very existence had been nothing but poisonous and harmful. She hasn't contributed anything in her own life. She hasn't earned her title as a cursed girl, a detestable being whose existence cannot be allowed. Until I can discover and tell her the meaning of her existence that I can't save Lucia, I can't save Haruka. I know that much, but I don't know. Fetch me! I keep misclicking. I'm too enraged. But I don't know the answer that Asahi Haruka is looking for. Fine, I'll find that answer for you. But for that, you need to pipe down and come with me for now.
その答えがないなら、早々にここを立ち去れ。二度と帰らぬルチアの思い出とともに。さらばだ。天王寺小太郎、残念だ。ルチアは、お前なら私の意味を教えてくれると期待していた。
I don't know. You said you wanted to forget that name. Why'd you bring it up now? Why are you looking for meaning behind her existence? Your poison will be cured someday. That's what I kept telling her. Perhaps she's thinking that there's some cruel undertone behind those words that she won't accept if her poison isn't cured. I never even gave it any thought to the possibility that her poison wouldn't be cured. Just as Lucia told me, what if it's a given her poison will never be cured? Will I just force her to stay in some quarantine room for the rest of her life? How could I possibly convince her to continue living a life filled with so much pain when she's already lost hope in living after having caused so much tragedy? Damn it.
さよなら。天王寺小太郎。私を追うな。死ぬぞ。
Lucia slowly walks off, heading toward the escalators going up. I run toward them to catch up to her. Wait!
消えろ。
Lucia whispers something and snaps her fingers. I hear something far above me fracture. Moments after, a huge shadow looms over me. Whoa! I hear the thunderous crash of something shattering. The massive chandelier hanging high above the entrance has fallen directly on where I was standing. Chihaya dove in front of the shadow to push me out of the way, saving my life. But now, the two of us are pinned down by an enormous chandelier. Ugh. Aww. Chihaya covered me, protecting me from the impact. With the frail body of hers, she withstood the direct impact of a falling chandelier. She manages to get on her knees, lifting what should weigh hundreds of kilos. Though her superhuman strength leaves me baffled for a moment, I realize that without her, I would have been crushed to death.
Kotarou, 無事か?
I'm alive. Chihaya saved me. Like a weightlifter, she slowly strains against the load of the chandelier bearing down on her. Man, I knew you were insanely strong, but seriously?
昨夜の衝撃干渉がなかったら、私だって潰れてます。くそ、重い。
After making sure we're safe for now, Suzuru looks up towards Lucia.
ルチア、少しやりすぎだ。申し訳ないが、説得を断念する。ならばどうする?
Suzuru slowly pulls out a military knife, the blade black and made of high carbon steel.
時間がない。そしてルチアにも会話の意思がない。会話がダメなら実力行使でお前をシェルターに連行する。それがいいだろう。
I really don't like where this is going.
私もしずるたちを言葉で追い返せる気がしなくなっていたところだ。ルチアの気持ちはわかるし理解できる。しかし今は時間がない。
Shizuru, is there really no other way?
説得はシェルターでした方が効率的だ。あなたが説得に閉じるからでしょうが。
I didn't screw up, alright? She wouldn't hear my side of it.
いいだろう。しずるとの組手は久しぶりだ。今日は木刀ではないぞ。こちらもだ。 頭を冷やしてシェルターへ行け。シェルターでは切られた腕は縫合できないぞ。
ルチアこそ腕の一本くらい切断してでも。
Quit it, you two! What's the point of fighting at a time like this?
女はひっぱたかなきゃわかんない時ってありますから。このシャンデリア何キロあんのよ。
Suzu and Lucia face off. Even though the two of them are on the first and third floors, they're so tense they could cross swords at any moment now.
バカしずる。後悔の代償は自分で決めろ。
Hey, this might be a decent picture for the thumbnail, but I still don't like it.
行くぞ。
Right as Suzu finishes her sentence, she disappears. For some reason, for someone as agile as her, the distance between the first and third floors is as good as 0. Oh no, that's a better one. Just as I think she's kicked off the second floor's escalator, she's already disappeared into the third floor, sparks flying between her and Lucia. Lucia parries Suzu's lightning fast blade with her own. However, when Lucia counterattacks cuts through the air, Suzu has already leapt off the wall of mirrors on the fourth floor. For Suzu, any distance is as good as 0. To her opponent, any distance is much too far. Soaring, getting parried from 4th floor to the 5th, her leaping attacks are like strikes of lightning. That's pretty cool little, like... It's amazing how they can get so much movement from essentially pictures. Parry, jump, parry, parry, parry. She kicks off the floor entrance to the escalators, dashing up the walls of the 3rd floor. She leaps and slashes again and again as each strike is parried. The sparks that scatter around are white and brilliant. If it weren't for the two fighting with their lives on the line, it would be a spectacle to behold. Suzu controls the timing of the contact and space of engagement. Whenever she wishes, she gets within striking distance. Whenever she doesn't, not even her shadow enters. In this vast mirrored entryway that stretches to the heaven, their fight is like an aerial battle, unshackled from the confines of gravity.
さすがしずる、すばしっこい。
いい加減に目を覚ませ、バカルチア。
うるさい、バカしずる。
Suzu disappears. She kicks off from the 2nd wall on the 3rd floor, and then the 4th escalator, sparks flying in every direction. Oh, only those brief flashes are hallways lit up. Even though the flight is happening in a blazing flash speed, it looks like a strange stop-motion sequence. Suzu disappears again. Where's she going to bound off next? The instant Lucia focuses above her, the lightning strike swipes by her feet. It's a feint. Suzu switched from pinpointing strikes to an all-out blitz attack. Lucia makes a mistake in responding in the instantaneous switch in tactics. Within the blink of an eye, what had initially been a stop-motion scene transforms into a flurry of strikes faster than a muzzle's flash on a machine gun. Fetch me. Slash, 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 parry, parry, parry. The lower legs, the abdomen, the sword arm, the stab, the kick, deflect, approach, strike, slice, cut, stab, stab. All that happening in about 3 seconds. Slash, kick, swipe, stab, parry, dash, strike, thrust, slice, jab, jab, jab. Suzu's real distance combat relies solely on reflex instead of logic. Her dominance in high-speed combat ignores all notions of form or tactics that lets her control the flow of the fight. Sheesh, against a knife with heightened combat strength, Lucia is just barely holding up, but it takes all her focus just to parry her attacks. How is she even doing that, though? There's no possible way to completely defend against such an overwhelming rapid series of random strikes. Guarding against all of these attacks would be akin to recklessly jumping in the rain without an umbrella and brushing off every single raindrop with your hands. As Lucia backs away, she makes a misstep. She's been cleverly pushed back to a downward escalator. She slips off the edge of the step in slow motion. At the same time, Suzu lets go of her knife. As it slowly falls through the air, Suzu pulls out 2 handguns before it even hits the floor. Short-barreled, double-action revolvers may look somewhat old-fashioned, but they transform once in Suzu's hands. That's because her rapid-fire recoil control and kinetic version far surpass the performance of any automatic firearm. They're loaded with 410 gauge shotgun shells, backshot, and process terrifying power up close. Buckshot. Interesting. Power, yeah, but buckshot isn't penetrative, it's force delivery. Suzu crosses her arms, steadies her aim, fires all her shots, unleashing a volley of hundreds of lead pellets against Lucia, still in midair. The scary thing is her knife is still falling, hasn't even hit the ground yet. A fierce storm of lead would turn any normal person into mincemeat, but in the battle between 2 of Guardian's talented combatants, it serves as nothing more than a lull in their engagement. It's nothing more than the follow-up attack. Finally, the knife clatters against the floor. Lucia slams against the escalator, tumbling to the floor below.
約束通り筆一本もらう。
仕留め損ねたな、しずる。死ね
From below, Lucia slashes her sword upward in a serpent-like spiral motion. The sheer pressure from her sword slices through the escalators as she passes by like a dragon rising into the air. At the exact moment, Shizuru's hands have already released the revolvers, pulling out 2 submachine guns. They fire at the rate of 900 rounds per minute. The twin guns are like a twin-headed lead dragon, roaring at blistering 1,800 rounds per minute. Despite the overwhelming rate of fire, the German-made submachine gun's high precision, combined with Shizuru's prestigious fire control ability, turns the firearms into an electric saw at an effective range of 200 meters. With absolute precision, the 200-meter electric saw shoots through Lucia's right arm as she grazes her sword. The stream of lead collides with Lucia's sword, sending it flying the moment she raises it into the air. At the same time, without even letting a second pass, Shizuru drops the submachine guns, draws out a spare knife hidden within her sleeve. As that happens, Lucia leaps further into the air. She can't afford to lose her one and only weapon. Following her, Shizuru also jumps, the two of them leaping and bounding off mirrored walls, moving further and further into the sky. It's now turned into an aerial battle between the two. Any normal person couldn't even hope to catch up with their regular kinetic vision. That's right, this would all just be nonsense for most of us. Those two are genuine monsters in their own right.
どっちもガーディアンのびっくり超人ですから、とにかくこのままじゃまずい。早く加勢しないとしずるが。
Why can't we get out from this? But doesn't Shizuru have the upper hand here?
しずるは全力出し切ってますけど、この花さんは出してない。早く加勢しなきゃ競り負ける。見てわかりません。
Like hell I can. Finally, Chihaya manages to jostle the giant chandelier off us. While that was happening, though, Lucia and Shizuru's battle escalated even further upward.
早く追っかけますよ。たく、あなたが説得を閉じるからです。
Where did I screw up? Lucia just kept talking over me.
わかってませんね。あなたってば、二言目には毒だの薬だの。あなたは学者ですか？違うでしょ？それはあなたにどうにかできる話じゃないでしょ？
Why is she making so much sense? Thank you, Chihaya. Good grief. Normally, it's like normally she's the one having to explain, but she's so perfectly encapsulated. She's like, do you know anything about that? Why are you using it as an argument? You need to be talking about things you know. What do you know about Lucia? What do you know about your feelings? And how do you know about the person? Talk to that. Then what the hell am I even supposed to talk about?
あなたにできて、あなたにしかできない話に決まってんじゃない。
We dash up the escalator, chasing after Lucia and Shizuru as their fight makes it to the 20th floor of the atrium. With her powerful leg strength, Shizuru dashes upward like a bullet. Meanwhile, I bumble around while giving chase. I try asking myself, what did Chihaya mean by what she said? She's right, poison or medicine, that's the realm of Lucia and the other of the project I've got nothing to do with. So then, what should I have said? What does Lucia want from me? Just one meaning is Lucia looking for an Asahi Haruka when she hated her so much. She's looking for me for the answer, damn it! Why can't I figure it out? Lucia and Shizuru's battle has reached far into the sky, probably past the 10th floor. Bounding against the walls of the 11th, 12th, the escalator on the 13th, and the balcony on the 14th. And that's happening. The skylight at the very top of the atrium shatters, creating a beautiful shower of glass shards. Lucia's blade smashed right through the skylight, flying out toward the jet black sky. Lucia continues to leap up after it while Shizuru is giving chase.
小太郎は迎えに来た。これ以上何を望む？
ルチアを迎えに来た。はるかではない。
小太郎は両者を区別しない。
区別してる。明白に。
小太郎ははるかも拒絶しない。
同情はいらない。私は意味を求め。
ややこしいことを言うな。
Quit being fussy! After having her right arm shot, Lucia is finding it slightly difficult to maintain her balance. While on the other side, Shizuru slips through the air with all of her body's strength. The two kick off the walls of the 17th floor, the 18th, and the balcony on the 19th. They cross paths at the very summit of the atrium at the Tower of Heaven. Shizuru is grasping a knife in each hand. Lucia has lost her weapon.
小太郎がどれだけ心配してるかもわからないのか。
同情ならいらんと言っている。
Even Shizuru wouldn't know what I was truly looking for.
ならこれで終わりだ。小太郎に看病されてろ。
The blade in Shizuru's hands are aimed precisely at the human body's vital spots. Her goal is to force Lucia to bleed heavily, lowering her blood pressure and render her unable to move. That would be fatal for a normal person, but for the girls, it would do nothing more than create a pause in hostilities while causing any real injuries. That's crazy. Suddenly, a sharp flash of light descends from the inky black night sky. It's Lucia's sword. After reaching the apex of its flight, it free falls downward. Lucia catches it midair with her right arm. In the blink of an eye, her bullet wounds on her arm transform into porcelain white skin. She was designed to have the highest specs when it came to existing within miasma. Her regenerative abilities surpass even Shizuru's. Oh, right. The poison actually is a fuel for her. So if she's not restricting its expulsion anymore, but is just actively like producing it, she essentially is becoming she's regenerating. I kind of forgotten about that. I'm glad it brought that up. Instantaneously, what should have been a Vol's flesh is completely regenerated, nerves and all. Oof. That's a good one. Shizuru and Lucia clash atop the chandelier suspended from the highest level of the atrium. Lucia's blade rends into the sky in two. Shizuru receives the blow with her carbon steel knife, sending white sparks flying, their aerial battle finally turning into a duel of blades. It's true. Sparks continue to fly between the two of them. Gradually, more intense orange sparks mix in with the white. There's a shrill ringing, the howls of their blades clashing. Which one will yield? Oh my gosh. Lucia's blade emits a hyper vibration sounding like a grinder or a chainsaw shaving away at something. Oh my gosh, she's just vibrating the blade as a weapon. She's turning it into okay, so it's stupid. I hate doing this, but in Star Wars, in like the Old Republic, they had these things called vibro swords. They were the only material weapons that were actually able to deflect lightsabers that weren't like Beskar. And the whole concept was that they had a vibration kit inside the tip, the mount of the blade. So they had like a kind of like a projected little shield, but the blade itself would vibrate so like rapidly you almost couldn't see it. And it was actually such a rapid movement that it would be able to like deflect the intense energy of the lightsaber, which is why it was like not perfect. Like a lightsaber could cut through a vibro blade, but it could actually give you like a defense. And essentially, what Lucia's made is a vibro blade. Orange fireworks fly as the blade slowly eats into Shizuru's knife. With a white-hot burst, the carbon steel knife shatters into pieces. Lucia's blade continues on its path, slicing cleanly through Shizuru's left shoulder to her right flank like a hot knife through butter. Fetch me. It cuts all the way through, without any pause, any hesitation. Lucia's expression twists. She didn't intend to cut so deeply. With a burst of slashing energy as they cross swords, a little deeper than Lucia's more likely would have sliced her in two.
Shizuru.
They lock eyes, their gaze filled with pain. With the final blow struck atop the atrium chandelier, they both fall from the inertia of the battle. From the very top towards the very bottom 20 stories below, they plunge like Icarus who lost his wings. They quietly close their eyes, entrusting themselves to the bed of feathers known as a free fall. Oh! I jumped straight off the balcony from one of the lower floors, cradling Shizuru's body, falling midair just in time and tumbled down one of the escalators. That was way too close. If I didn't catch her, she would have slammed right into the first floor's entryway and might have been split right in two. Likewise, Chihaya managed to grab into Lucia's arm just moments before the impact. That sounds scary. Shizuru, you okay? Her body's carved into diagonally. I hug her tightly in a crouch and try to keep her wound from opening up any deeper.
くらい
That should be.
正しくしてれば治る。
You were like bisected. Really? You sure? Chihiru's ridiculous healing ability can let her completely recover even from wounds like this. However, it's difficult for her to hide the pain. She squeezes her eyes shut and grits her teeth, focusing all she has into synthesizing anesthesia within her.
小太郎、ルチアを頼む。
Oh my gosh. Tell me, you know, don't you? What does Lucia want? What should I do to give it to her so I can give it to her?
頼む。ルチアを。
Shizuru, hey Shizuru! Shizuru serves her consciousness to place full priority on her recovery. I lay Shizuru on the floor and look for Lucia and Chihaya, their balcony high above me. Chihaya is leaning over the balcony, just barely gripping onto Lucia's left arm.
どうして助けた？
あなたと私、お友達ってことになってませんでした？
忘れていた。
She's leaning so far over the railing that she's close to losing her balance. Her arm strength has no problem gripping Lucia with just one hand, but the weight is pulling her over the railing as well. Chihaya's legs aren't even touching the floor anymore. I dash up the escalator to try and help them, but just how many more floors are there? I need to hurry up or they'll fall.
あなたとは仲直りしたり喧嘩したり、本当に目まぐるしいですよね。私、分かったんです。あなたと私って同じタイプなんですよね。
同じ？
私たち、お互い、自分のこと、世界で一番不幸だと思ってますよね。
何を言い出すかと思えば。
ですよね。この花さんは、こんなひどい体にされて、さぞや世界で一番不幸だと思ってるに違いありません。お気の毒とは、私も一定は思います。
お前に、この世界に存在する意味さえない私の気持ちなど。
ええ、わかりません。理解できません。でも、この花さんだって、私の気持ちなんて理解できないはずです。
Ooh, good point.
私、あなたと似てるところがあるのに、なぜか受け入れられない気持ちの正体が、これはきっと、同族嫌悪。私たちは自分が、世界で一番不幸だと思い込んでる。それが疑いを鏡にするから、一層自分が情けなくなる。
Dang.
私より、お前の方が不幸だというのか。
Okay, but there's the thing again. It's like the black hole inside her. So it makes it all about the poison again. She can't hear what she's actually saying.
ええ、そうです。すみません。私から見れば、あなたなんて全然恵まれてます。みんながあなたを理解し、受け入れようとしてくれる。あなたを孤独にしないと、小太郎に誓ってもらって、さらにこの上、何をねだってるんです？甘えてんですよ、あなたは。
私がいつ甘えた？
みんなあなたを心配してここまで来てくれた。
She's like, do you think anyone came here for me?
本当にあなたの存在に意味がなかったら、誰もわざわざこんなとこ来ない。あなたが勝手に核弾頭で吹っ飛ばされて、はいおしまい。でも私たちは来た。どうしてかわかる？
Oh, go, Chihaya, go!
わかるものか。私を生かせばそれだけ世界が。
ああ、もうめんどくさい。
At the very last moment, Chihaya finally regains her footing. With all her might, she pulls Lucia up. Rather, she swings her up and flings her straight to the clothes store display window.
あなたが友達だからでしょうが。それで意味が足らないってんなら、本気で引っ叩きます。パーじゃなくて、グーでね。
Okay, again, worlds colliding. But in this moment, if you've been watching the Legend of Trails in the Sky, Legend of Heroes game, this is such an Estelle line right here.
望むところだ、大鳥千早。
Lucia stands up, shards of glass falling from her, and gets into a stance with her sword. In response, Chihaya changes her stance as well. But Chihaya's expression twists in pain.
どうした？
Lucia gasps.
口で言ってもわかんない子には
Uh-oh.
お仕置きが。
I was worried about the poison. Direct contact might be too much even for Sakuya.
大鳥千早。
Chihaya's hand is dyed a deep purple. Her special ability is protecting her from the poison, which is why she can survive in this miasma. However, unlike Kotarou and Lucia, she can't hold out against it with her bare body. Her protection wasn't able to withstand direct contact with Lucia. Oh, fetch me. Her face rapidly grows pale. Her eyes lose focus, and she seems to be losing her sense of balance. Chihaya staggers, but she tries to tough it out as she can remain standing. The hand that grabbed Lucia in the nick of time as she fell to the abyss is finally tainted with poison.
あなたを掴んだ時、柵でお腹打っちゃったみたいです。
Surely, even Chihaya knows what's eating away at her, but for some reason she refuses to acknowledge it. Why? Because if she does, then that would hurt her, her friend. So what? She doesn't. She will not, even if she collapses. Chihaya falls to the floor with a thud. First one knee, then the next, before collapsing. Even though she saved her from falling, even though she called her a friend, she stains that friend's hand with a sticky purple. Up until the very last second, she clawed at the floor, struggling to get up. No avail, though. She drools, foaming at the mouth, and stops moving. Normally, it would have been instant death for her. However, the power protecting Chihaya's body was so intent on keeping her safe that it kept the poison from entering her body until the very last moment. Fetch me. God, that makes so much more impact knowing her story. Holy crap. She should eventually regain her consciousness in due time, but right now, to Lucia, it looks as if her friend just died. Okay, so she is okay, but... Bleh. Lucia! Chihaya!
小太郎、大鳥さん。死んじゃった。
Chihaya, you okay?
私のこと、助けてくれたのに。私が、また、友達を殺しちゃった。
Lucia looks at Chihaya's left hand, the hand that she dyed purple, and trembles.
これでも生きろ。
It's game time, boy! Come on!
これでも生まれてきた意味は必ずある。
Lucia.
ない。私に生きてる意味なんて何もない。ただ生きてるだけで誰かを殺してしまう。私は毒だから汚れてるから。
Calm down, we'll figure out some... Stop saying suppressant! We're not going to abandon you. I end up saying those words to her again, even when I know they offer no consolation to her. That's why they won't get through to her. Lucia dashes away, perhaps waiting to get as far from possible from the girl who called her a friend. She runs up the escalators to the heavens themselves as far as she can go. What should I even say to her? I'll say Haruka's very existence is a source of poison wherever she goes. Just what can I say to save her? I'm going to draw... Yeah, absolutely. Kotarou, he's been an idiot before. I don't think he's been this stupid before.
あなたは何度言葉を間違えれば。
Tell me, what does Lucia wish for? I know she wants something from me, but I don't know what it is.
あんだけ彼女はヒント出してるでしょ。
Exactly.
それでわかんなきゃ。あなたは傷つけるだけ。彼女を押しかくなんかない。
No right to chase her.
それでも今は追って。私もこの程度で死ぬ気ないから。
But
早く行けー！小太郎！
I kinda hate him right now. He's so stupid. I mean, I get it. It's a heat of the moment. It would be really hard to think clearly in this situation, but at the same time, it's like, Gah! She screams at me, the last ounce of her strength. Overwhelmed by the pressure, I run after Lucia. Lucia climbs floor after floor, but I have the idea of where she's going. Kotarou. Her breathing ragged, Lucia dashes up to the observation deck. The color of the sky looks to be close to dawn. At some point, it's already turned into an unearthly mix of blue, purple, and orange.
鍵になって世界を滅ぼす非常にもなれない。そして朝日遥として この世にとどまる傲慢にもなれない。なのにこの花ルチアに戻りたいという誰か教えて。私はどこへ行けば。
In the silver space between dimly lit ground and the magnificent glow of the daybreak spreading across the sky, Lucia continues to question the reason for her existence. Lucia. Come on, bro!
小太郎、教えて。私に意味を。こんな私が。
Of course, it's okay for you to live. You don't need a reason. Searching for it isn't what living is about.
ほう、そうなのか。ならば生きよう。生きてその意味を探そう。でもそれって世界を鍵として滅ぼすという意味になるんだぞ。それも一興か。そのように生み出された私だ。とことん誰からも嫌われ、そんな世界を終わらせる役割に意味を見出すも一興。
Oh boy. We unlocked the villain arc. Stop! It hurts to see you laugh like that. Lucia, you know saying that only makes you feel even more empty, right? It's clear you'd hate to be the one to do that. It's written all over your face. Your smile is too pained, too miserable. How's that even a smile? You look terrible. Your face is covered in tears. You couldn't possibly mean any of that. Stop me. That's what your expression's telling me. I've been telling her my honest feelings again and again. I've been saying that we've figured something out for her poison, she shouldn't die, but none of that's getting to her. Even Chihaya yelled at me and said I've been saying the wrong thing. Whenever I say the wrong thing, Lucia gets hurt. I know that much. She wants me to tell her something, but all I can do is look down and bite my lip. What the hell am I even doing? Maybe Chihaya was right. Maybe I don't have the right to chase after Lucia.
小太郎、神話の時代からの鍵の習わしに従い。
Lucia is the first to break the silence. Even though her face is still twisted and covered in tears. As long as she's enforcing a smile, she can still maintain her composure.
ミツカイがノアやロトに知らせたように、世界でただ一人。
Yeah, let's hear it then.
私はここで死ぬ気がなくなった。
That's good.
だが、お前たちとシェルターへは行かない。
The nuke will kill you.
もちろん、市内にとどまるつもりはない。乗り捨てられたバイクでも車でも奪い、爆心から遠ざかる。県境を越えて北上し、人口密集地を目指す。
Alright. Yeah. So she just wants to find... She's just like, yeah, she's going Armageddon mode, but like not to actually go Armageddon mode. She wants to force their hand to stop her. What?
被害は拡大するだろう。何度も核攻撃ではごまかせない。私は正気を生み続け、世界を7日かけて滅ぼす。気流に乗って拡散すればもう誰も逃れられない。人類の時代は終わり。
That's what you mean by your role as the key.
私が風祭り仕事鍵を滅ぼさなかったら、鍵はきっとそうしていた。
But you're not the key.
いいや、鍵だ。旧世界を滅ぼし、新世界の扉を開く。
Quit talking nonsense already. As if some messed up reason like that's the only way you can justify your own existence.
だって、他に私の意味がない。だから鍵をやることにした。
That's so screwed up. You some little kid throwing a tantrum? This isn't like you.
じゃあ、小太郎は私に鍵以外のどんな役割を、意味を教えてくれる。もうこの体は戻らない。この花ルチアには戻れない。朝日はるかに何の意味を教えてくれる。
Going in circles again.
意味なんかない。私には世界を滅ぼすか、あるいは世界が私を滅ぼすか、それを試すことしか意味なんかない。
Again, I can't be too judgmental here because I'm not too sure what I would say. But at the same time, It's just driving me crazy.
だから私は鍵なんだ。人類は滅ぶに値するか否か、それを問うことだけが私の存在できる意味なんだ。
So Lucia, what are you going to tell me as the key?
この滅ぶ世界より生き延びる唯一の術を。
Yeah? Tell me then. I'll do it. But Lucia, let me warn you.
釘とは
It better not be some crap like you don't want the world to be destroyed and you have to kill me. I knew it. Just seeing that expression on her face, I immediately knew what she wanted. Sorry, I'm getting tired of those cliches. Damn, Chihaya was right. Maybe sometimes you really do gotta slap some sense into a girl.
愚かな。命のやり取りをしたこともないくせに、私と戦えるつもりか。
Slowly, Lucia points her sword at me, the same one she used while crossing swords with Shizuru. Hyper vibrations run through the blade, giving off a distinctive shrill ringing sound. Even Shizuru was slashed deeply from shoulder to side. I screw this up, I'll get filleted from head to toe. Still don't know what to say to Lucia. Chihaya told me that I wouldn't have the right to chase after her if I didn't. But she told me to go after her anyway. No. I have to go after Lucia.
武器も戦闘の心得もない小太郎など、身の立ちさえいらん。一刀両断。無駄な強がりなど見苦しいだけだ。
Right back at you. You're pretending to fight, but you're going to hold back and try and get me to kill you, right? Can you be any more obvious? Quit acting drunk on your own misery.
何?
That's the most disarming thing you could have said. I heard what Chihaya said to you. You think you're the most unfortunate girl in the world. Yeah, maybe you are. You're cursed with such a terrible body. But I'm pretty damn sure there's tons of people out there who are way unluckier than you. There's people out there who are in so much pain without even a soul who cares to understand them. But what about you? Suzudu came for you. Chihaya came for you. And hell, I'm here too! With just that. I'm not just about to let you say you're the most unfortunate person in the world.
お前たちになんか私の気持ちがわかるもんか!
We're not supposed to. You don't just get to understand people. Like, we're islands. It sucks, but we're all islands. We all want to be understood. We're not. We're never gonna be, and that's okay. Because we can understand each other just enough to make it through all right and to have the comfort we need. As if you could understand how I feel either. How do I feel when I'm together with you? And how would I feel if you were gone? You think you know? If you really knew, then you would never say that. You can't call me arrogant or whatever. I'm gonna say my piece anyway. I don't give a damn about your poison or medicine. I don't care about Konohana Lucia this, Asahi Haruka that. I could care less about that crap. The key, destroying the world, 1,000 years, the project, I'm so damn sick of it all. I don't give a crap about any of it.
ならば貴様など、私にとって何の存在も意味もない。無意味なら無意味らしく、私の前から消え去れ!
Come on. I'll wake you up by knocking some sense into you. We're gonna die. The density of time compresses. In a world where a single second is vastly stretched out, the two begin to slowly move. Lucia's movements are no longer dulled. Indeed, she initially planned to die by Kotaru's hands by faking a fight to the death. Kotaru saw through her, though, and she no longer feels that way after giving in to her fury. No, about half of it remains. If she were to die as a result of this fight, then she would accept it. That half remaining aspiration for death still lingers. The other half is to cut off the part ways with Kotaru, Konohana Lucia's last remaining attachment. It's an aspiration to be reborn as the key and the one who will bring about the world to its end. In either case, she wants to entrust the outcome to Kotaru. That feeling manifests itself in the purest form in her swordsmanship. Which is why the tip of her sword draws a beautiful line through the air without a trace of hesitation. Meanwhile, just as he said, Kotaru throws his entire force of his body into striking Lucia, his right arm raised to punch her. Kotaru hasn't realized the implications of his body turning into one like Lucia's, suited for living in a world filled with miasma. His speed and power followed suit, going far beyond what he normally possesses. Oh, he's eating it too! If it weren't for that, he would not have been able to raise his fist. He would have just been slashed in two. Lucia's blade and Kotaru's fist fly through the air at the same time, both aimed at each other. Just above Kotaru's head, Lucia's sword slowly swings downward. Kotaru's fist slowly flies toward Lucia's face. In the battle between sword and fist, the tie is simply impossible. In a world like this, where a single second turns into 1,000, the days where Lucia's flashes by. Could this be his life flashing before his eyes? This fatal clash of less than a second, Lucia will emerge victorious. In the back of Kotaru's mind, the day he spent with Lucia surfaces. When I tried to get Yoshino to eat the super spicy parfait, I accidentally made Lucia eat it instead. Even though she should have been writhing in agony from the spice, she didn't feel a thing. That was when I first became aware of her. Since then, I set up all sorts of strange commotions in the cafeteria, was misunderstood, and got beat up. Just remembering those days makes me want to cry. No crazy secret societies, no poison, no curses, no nothing. What'd I do to go back to those days? When I found out about the story of Asui Haruka, I just stuck my nose in, thinking it'd be an interesting story. After that, I got in touch with Lucia's past, learned her secret, and truly felt sympathy for her. Yes, she said she had hated pity. She shouted again and again she doesn't want it. Were those days unbearable for her then? But that feeling of pity gradually changed. Suzudu made me realize that eventually I came to love the girl named Lucia. In this critical juncture where the world is on the brink of destruction, where she could live or die from a nuclear attack, Lucia came here. Those days will forever be dazzling and glorious to her. And she knows I'm not just pitying her, that I really do love her. And that's why she's tried to accept me too. I will never let Lucia be alone for as long as I live, words that both she and I valued. But aren't those words just filled with pity? This whole time, I've just been going on and on about how we'd find new suppressant or how I wouldn't abandon her. Do I still not know what Lucia wants? What she wants isn't pity. It's not about poison or suppressants or anything like that. That's what those words that cling so tightly to those days with Konohana Lucia are so filled with pity and emptiness.
ありがとう、小太郎。お前との日々は、私が必ず1000年の後の世界へ語り継ぐお前との記憶だけが唯一の旧世界の輝きだ。
I finally figured out your meaning.
何？
The time expands and shatters. Before Lucia's sword, Kotaru is not cut in two. Kotaru did not swing his arm out to punch Lucia, he used his arm to block her blade. Oh, now this won't be a thumbnail, but that's a picture. Oh. That sharp blade tore through muscle and sinew, reaching his bone, but it stopped there. The blade and its hyper vibrations had cut through Shizuru like a knife through butter, but Kotaru only resisted the world of poison. Why can't it not slice through a single arm, a single bone?
なんと頑丈な腕だ。だが、我が刃に切れるものはない。削り切る。そしてそのまま頭から真っ二つだ。
Grind?
私の意味など、お前にはもはやわからん。削り切られて死ね。
Ow. Together with high-pitched, metallic ringing from the hyper vibrations, orange sparks fly in all directions. She's trying to cut through my muscle, through the very bone. Cut what? As if you could cut through. I'll give you a real good smack in the face to wake you up. I'll show you that Konohana Lucia isn't the most unfortunate girl in the world. All your friends came here, I came here. No matter how hard you reject the world, I'm going to keep on expending you a helping hand. I'm definitely going to save you. I'm resolved to see it through, and that's why I'm here. No way you're cutting through. This is just a sort of a dumb girl obsessed with thinking she's the worst off girl in the world. Don't ever think you can cut through my determination. Lucia's expression is tinged with surprise and impatience. Her hyper-vibration blade can cut through any enemy armor. The blade is feared even by Gaia for its ability to cut through anything. And yet, it cannot cut. There's something it cannot dissect. Orange sparks are flying everywhere, and her blade cannot penetrate any deeper into Kotaru's bone, even by a fraction of an inch. God, that would hurt so bad! The music's going hard again. It's hard to hear, but you do it. Kotaru probably can't see it himself. Something other than sparks ebbs at the wound where Lucia is slicing against him with her blade. Mysterious fluid that glows a pale green splashes from the wound, and it isn't blood. It's as if Kotaru's willpower itself is manifesting within his right arm, refusing to let the blade through. That resolve is so ironclad, the hyper-vibration blade cannot hope to fight against it. In fact, as Kotaru shouts, the light overflows and instead now eats away at the blade. I'm sick of playing a word game with you, and I've had to rack my brain thinking of what you want. But none of that mattered. As Lucia reels back in disbelief, Kotaru replies with a look of realization in his eyes. It's me. I was gonna beat some sense into you, not because I pitied you or wanted to save you or anything like that. No, that was completely off the mark. Oh boy. I want to save you, but not because I feel bad for you. The glow from within my wound grows more and more intense. I can tell just by the feel that my arm's cutting against her sword. I raise my arm up to guard in self-defense, but now I slowly push back. Feeling that the sword is about to get ripped from her grasp, Lucia tightens her grip even more. However, it doesn't last. If this is purely a battle of wills, there's no way I can lose now. You know, I didn't want to save you for your sake, it's for mine. I slowly but falteringly put my strength into it. Lucia yields to that strength, the sword gradually finding its way out of her grasp. Finally, the words, I need you! Yeah, it's all from me. If you want to destroy the world, then hey, be my guest. If you want to die, then you know what? Go right ahead. But too bad. I don't give a crap about your will. Stupid. Not everything's supposed to be your way. It'll go mine. I'm gonna cut out the limb and say it. I don't give a damn about how you feel about your meaning. You gotta spend your whole life figuring out your own reason for living. Even if you don't feel like you got any meaning yourself, that doesn't have anything to do with me. That meaning of life isn't something that someone gives you. It's about what it means to you. It's not what Lucia meant to herself. Rather, it's what Lucia means to me. You can feel free to try and kick yourself, but I'm gonna prioritize what I want here. Even if you can't find your own meaning, you mean something to me. Lucia's sword is some cheap weapon of desperation. It's a worthless sword that only hurts those within its reach so that she can inflict her own pain upon them. However, Kotarou's firm, unwavering conviction will never be cut by the blade like that. Rather, he will end up slicing back, swallowing it whole. He will cut it right through Lucia's cheap veil of deception. Kotarou raises his arm with all his might, and the blade of Lucia's sword snaps in two, flying through the air. Oh! Together with the blade and the last of Lucia's emotions that have also been hurting her finally break. She's stunned, defenseless. Kotarou raises his fist once more. The same place, same memories. This is not deja vu. Something that shouldn't happen again happens again. A miracle. This isn't getting recharged or anything, so I'm only going to say this once. At the start, I really just was teasing a straight-laced class representative that somehow kept running into. With the whole Asahi Haruka affair, I grew more connected to you, and eventually I couldn't just let you go. That's why, back at the church when I hugged you, what I felt at that time was sympathy, I'll be perfectly honest. But after our date today, all those feelings have gone right out the window. Oh gosh, it was right there! Nope, not a bit. The reason I, Tennouji Kotarou, am embracing Konohana Lucia right now is absolutely not out of pity or sympathy. I'm not saying this again, so listen up. He retraces his words up to that point, but the next action is different and much, much rougher than the words he spoke before. Kotarou swings his right fist down, but it doesn't punch Lucia on the cheek. It's as if he's going to punch Lucia in the back, but he doesn't. He pulls her in by force and hugs her. Aww, aww. It's because I love you, you idiot. I want to be with you. Don't give a damn what you think. It's what I want. Looking for what you mean to yourself? I don't know. I sure hell don't care. Whether you're the key, an agent, a class representative, I don't care. None of it will ever change what you mean to me. I love you, so I want to be with you. What else do I need? Konohana Lucia or Asahi Haruka, I have nothing to do with it. Neither does this poison. Yeah, I gave her the wrong idea. All I've been talking about is the poison or suppressants. It's like I'm saying your poison has to be fixed before you matter, but that's why you couldn't understand. He's like, you always mattered. I was just trying to help. That's why Lucia was afraid of all this time. That I was afraid of the poison, that I was only taking pity on her, that I was forcing myself. She was frightened that someday I would give up on her if the poison were never cured. That's why she wanted me to accept her, Asahi Haruka, all. Not poison or medicine, she just wanted to hear something much more simple and honest. But I kept saying all the patronizing things, like how I wouldn't let you be alone, as if that was forcing myself to accommodate what you wanted. But that's not what you wanted to hear. You just wanted to hear what I truly honest felt.
Kotarou.
Aww. Sorry, Lucia. I couldn't honestly say how I felt, so I made it look like I was giving you my sympathy. I lied to myself, and I hurt you too. If only I'd realized that earlier. Maybe we could have avoided how this all turned out. But thanks to all this, I can understand why you'd want to die. It could be all my fault. But none of that matters. Lucia doesn't even bother to hide her sobs as she buries her face into my shoulder. I embrace her delicate shoulders tightly with resolve never to let her go again. I don't care if she groans that I'm hugging her too tightly. I want to, so I will. I want to be with you, and that's why I came here. You're looking for your own meaning? If you can't find it, then let's look for it together. But I know what you mean to me, so I'm going to tell you.
教えて。私がそれを忘れそうになったら。
Of course I will. Many times as you want me to.
私生きていて
What a crazy question.
いいのかな
I'll allow it. You should live for me. I can't live without you.
大勢殺した
Yes. Whew!
私には背負いきれるかな
That is going to be a thing. We're going to have to figure that out. I'll carry you and all your burdens. We need to keep on fighting for the sake of all those those who were sacrificed. Understand? Your death isn't going to atone for everyone who died. It's the masterminds behind what happened that are responsible. You're going to be rough. It's going to be a rough fight, but I'm going to be by your side. Not out of pity, because I'm going to die if I'm not together with you.
そうか私がいないと
This poor broken girl.
死んじゃうのか
That's right. Don't go killing me, Nier. I'm not going to let you die either.
私が死ぬと小太郎が死んで逆でも二人とも死んで
You and me, all this time, we've been one and the same.
小太郎
Aww. Okay. I know we're really close to the end, but I think we're actually gonna end here because that was a lot, and she's about to break this all up into madness. And so I think what we'll do next week is we'll just wrap up whatever this is. 'Cause I feel like we're pretty close to the end. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're not. But it sure feels that way. And I feel like when she's cutting in saying "and cut," it's clearly gonna be a cut of like. Oh gosh, I don't want to break this up. It's probably not right. I imagine I'm like 4 clicks away from something meaningful, but we're gonna stop it here because that was a beautiful, powerful, but crazy ending. I don't know how I feel about it though, if I'm honest. There's definitely gonna be a lot to talk about for Lucia. I have my thoughts about the other routes, and they're going to be interesting and complex each one, but I think my relationship with the Lucia route is going to be the most interesting. There's a lot here that it's something you got to chew on, you know? We're going to have to see how this all plays out. Like I said, I'm probably ending at a really terrible time. But I'm either on the precipice of a finale, in which it would be nice to just get a clean wrap up and everything. Or there's like a whole other phase that I'm not seeing, despite how insane this is and how finale this feels. Which we'll have to get to. But I need to breathe. And I think it's a good place to stop. So we are going to stop here. Thank you so much for being here today. Like I said, I'm going to really think about this one. And we'll have to kind of bring ourselves around and kind of get to the finale next time. And like that's the thing, is like I'm guessing if I'm really close to the ending like I thought, I'll probably end up just talking a lot about it next week. So again, forgive me for ending here, but it just something tells me I should stop. And I'm gonna do what I can to like make sure that it's a good experience, but I really just need to give myself breathing room here. Thank you for being here and supporting me. This has been a very interesting series, and there's still so much left to it, and at the same time, there's also so much I don't want to like go over yet. I kind of don't want it to end, but I also know I'm probably pretty far away from an actual end. like the true ending that we're gonna like, go for, in the when all's said and done. Like we still have a ways to go for this series. That's kind of good. There's so much to this game. There's so much, and it really tackles really interesting concepts every time. Each route feels a little different, but I also am really seeing how they all marry together in a really beautiful way. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel and for being a part of this wonderful journey, especially to patrons and members. Like, I don't deserve your wonderful support, but I appreciate it. And to anyone who's watching this video or finding my channel, like, it means so much to me. You mean so much to me. And I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are about this episode. And probably how angry you are about, like, just go a little longer, why don't you? But that's okay. We're ending here. And that's alright. Thank you. And until next video watching me, I've seen me next. I'll see you there.